Rebecca Hall's emotions are close to the surface as she recalls how her mother, the renowned opera singer Maria Ewing, insisted she receive an internet link so she could watch her daughter's first film as a director. The pandemic was at its height. I kept saying to her, "Shall we wait until we can be in a cinema together?" And she said, "No, just send it to me. I can't handle it anymore." After Maria saw Passing, a delicate visual poem of a film, set in 1920s America, about two black women entwined in a tumultuous tale of racial identity, she rang her 39-year-old daughter. She was crying an awful lot, so it was an emotional moment, Hall said of the conversation she had with her 71-year-old mom last year. They weren't just the tears of a proud parent, marveling at her offspring's progression from acclaimed stage and screen actress to debut filmmaker. The story of Passing is based on a 100-page novella by Nella Larson, published in 1929 at the height of what's known as the Harlem Renaissance, where the work of black artists first entered the public mainstream. It details an encounter between two childhood friends, Irene Redfield, wife of a doctor, mother of two sons, and Claire Kinbry, the blonde beauty as the novel describes her, a light-skinned black woman who has been living as a white woman for years. She's married to a racist, who is unaware of her true background. Tessa Thompson as Irene, and Irish actress Ruth Negga as Claire, give devastating portraits of women trapped in their own cages of identity. It was a situation that Hall's mother recognized all too well. Rebecca, whose father was Peter Hall, a giant of theater and film who died in 2017, told me her maternal grandfather Norman was maybe African American, maybe Native American. We don't know. But whatever his lineage, he passed for white, and so did Maria and her sisters. Hall told me that growing up, she and her mother spoke about it only fleetingly. The sad thing about the history of passing in a family is that the family closes around and protects itself, so everything gets hidden. So, in a sense you inherit all of the shame and none of the pride. And there is so much to be proud of in my family. She said she has gone through a long process of uncovering her biracial inheritance, noting her mother and aunts felt that they had to honor their father by not talking about it. There had been conversations about race while Maria's father was still alive. It was gradual, putting together a snatch of something my mother might reveal. And then me putting that against how she looks, frankly. I just always looked at her and thought, well, you look like a black woman to me. Hall said that while she felt compassion for her relatives, it was complicated. "This stuff is messy," she commented. She noted her mum, who performed as a soprano and mezzo-soprano, had identified herself primarily as an artist, like "this is who I am, and this is what I care about." And the point of the book, and Hall's movie, is all these categories that we're so obsessed with putting people in. None of us can be reduced to one aspect of our identity. Passing was shown at the London Film Festival last week at a screening packed with family members. There were 25 halls. She marveled as we sat in a room at the Corinthia Hotel in Whitehall, discussing the picture which will open in cinemas next Friday before reaching Netflix on November 10th. It took 13 years to bring Passing to the screen. There were many roadblocks, the first being Hall's own nerves. It took her 6 years to pull her draft script from a drawer. She then spent 7 years pitching it to financiers, who tried to bully her into bigging up the male roles, or shooting it in color, instead of the black and white she wanted. "Black and white isn't black and white, it's gray," she exclaimed. "That's the big joke that I'm utilizing." "Was it really that difficult? Are you kidding?" she cried. It was a nightmare. But she would not back down. She shot the film on a wing and a prayer, with a budget of next to nothing. Everyone told her she was wasting her time. Then it went and sold to Netflix for a huge amount of money, she said, smiling, tears vanished. "I predict it's also going to be at the heart of award season action. Hall has come a long way since I first met her, age 10, at St. Paul's Cathedral while her father filmed a scene for his 1992 television adaptation of Mary Wesley's bestseller The Chamomile Lawn. It was her first screen role, unwittingly sowing the seeds for the film artist she has now become." Derek Jacobi and Eileen Atkins will step before the cameras in the new year to portray playwright George Bernard Shaw and his wife, and key collaborator, Charlotte, in a new film charting the couple's trip to Los Angeles, where they hope to sell the screen rights to his play Pygmalion. Shaw thought had landed in the strangest of strange lands and fled Hollywood in horror. He made the film 5 years later, in England, with British backers and stars including Leslie Howard and Wendy Hiller. Of course, following Shaw's death in 1950 a feeding frenzy ensued, with Warner Brothers eventually claiming victory. The rest is movie history. My Fair Lady, released in 1964, is the musical version of Pygmalion. The issue of rights remains problematic, though. A My Fair Lady remake, boasting a screenplay by Emma Thompson, has been in limbo for years. Now, Simon Callow will direct Mr. Shaw Goes to Hollywood, based on Mark Saltzman's play that imagines the kind of hell Shaw and his wife endured in 1933, when they met MGM studio titan Louis B. Mayer, Clark Gable and all manner of Hollywood folk. Dustin Hoffman will portray Mayer, with Aidan Turner playing Gable, just before he embarked on another historic picture, Gone with the Wind. Riz's close encounter with star-director Riz Ahmed, Oscar-nominated for Sound of Metal, and director Michael Pearce have revealed how they stalked each other to ensure they worked together on Encounter, a gem of a psychological action movie. Pearce's film, set in the U.S., is about a former Marine, suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, who takes his 2 sons, the marvelous Lucian River Chauhan and Aditya Gedada, on a terrifying road trip. Ahmed told me he chased after Pearce after being bowled over by the power of the script, by Joe Barton and Pearce, and because he was impressed by the Jersey-born director's first film, Beast. Meanwhile, Pearce had heard whispers Ahmed had read the script, and the director was prepared to change the Marine's name in order to woo the Wembley-born actor. The film also stars Octavia Spencer as a parole officer involved in the stunning climax. It is released on December 3, followed by a launch on Amazon Prime Video a week later.